Hey guys, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited because today is the first anti-haul of 2020 and I'm also currently on a 2-month low buy, so I am very excited to end these products' whole careers. If you're new here, I do anti-hauls fairly often. It's a concept created by Kimberly Clark and popularized by many of my favorite creators, and basically it's just where you go through new releases and anti-haul them.
I have the mind of a master. I have the mind of a master.
For my anti-hauls, I actually like to kind of talk myself out of buying certain things. I know some people talk about makeup releases that they hate. I like to throw in a lot of releases where I actually was very intrigued and kind of wanted to pick up the item at first, but then I talked myself out of it and I wanted to share my reasoning on camera for that, to kind of just talk through my thoughts. And needless to say, the brands really supplied me with the content for this one. There's just been a lot of new things coming out. Some of them intriguing, some of them were choices. Because this video is going to be a more negative one where I'm talking about products I don't want to buy, just to inject a little bit of positivity in there, I'm going to start off with 3 things I do want to buy. These are 3 things that I've added to my running wish list of products I do want to pick up, and I create my wish list using ShopTagger. ShopTagger is an online browser extension for shopping that allows you to save items you like onto a wish list. It keeps track and notifies you when prices go down or when things come back in stock, so it's really useful for me so I don't have to check up on every single item. It just has it all in one place, very user friendly. While you're shopping, there's a little button in the upper right hand corner of your browser. You just click the button and it automatically saves it to your wish list. I've been using ShopTagger for almost 2 years now. It's one of my favorite tools for online shopping. They also have a new feature where when you go to checkout, you can actually hit the button and it'll try a bunch of coupon codes for you. And I save an average of $15 every time I do that, so very helpful. First new release I added to my wish list. God damn it, Samantha. That stupid Beautiful by Beauty foundation. It sounds like everything I want in my entire life and more. I'm either going to 100% fall in love with this foundation or I'm gonna hate it. There is no in between, and I'm leaning towards loving it, but either way, I really want to try it out. According to my low buy rules, I can get a new foundation once I've completely gone through another bottle. So I've been furiously aggressively using Too Faced Born This Way every single day because I have this much left in here, and then I can throw this one out and get the Bite foundation. But that is on my wish list. I will be picking that up with haste. I'm also kind of ashamed to say I want the Hourglass Concealer. It looks so pretty. I swatched it in Sephora. I think I'm in the shade Oat or something like that. Such a nice texture. I love Hourglass's complexion products, and I don't need a $34 concealer, so I'm probably not going to pick that one up anytime soon. I will restrain myself on that one, but it's on the wish list. So on the off chance that they ever decide to do a discount on that, I will get notified by ShopTagger, and I will end it all for that concealer. And then I've been wanting to pick up a Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector for a while. I decluttered a bunch of shades that didn't work for me, and I've just been wanting to use that formula again. I don't know, it's a really lovely highlighter formula. I've been wanting to pick up the shade, I think Moonstone. That would be the best for my skin tone. They came out with a limited edition Moonstone for Lunar New Year. So pretty, and I think if I'm gonna pick up a Becca highlighter, I might as well get one that's in special packaging, but it's in the shade that I want. So that's on the wish list as well. Alright, positivity time is over. Let's roast some new releases. Thank you to ShopTagger for sponsoring today's video and helping me create my wish list. What else? Full details of this look should already be on Instagram. It's grungy, it's witchy, I love it. I am so excited to roast this list of products. Let's do this. The first product I want to talk about on this list, my feelings on this palette are as mixed as my ethnicity. I don't know how to feel about this. The Anastasia Beverly Hills and amrezy palette. First of all, I did want to say I really commend Norvina for releasing that little statement about not releasing any new palettes this year, besides this palette, the holiday palette that's coming at the end of the year, and then 2 Norvina releases. But I really appreciate her being upfront about that, because that was one of the main things that really upset me and a lot of other people about Anastasia last year. If she is telling the truth and this and the holiday palette are the only 2 ABH palettes coming out this year, interesting choices. This is a palette where honestly I can see myself using these shades in here. It is a very neutral eyeshadow palette. I do think it's definitely in line with what amrezy wears, the kind of makeup she does, and I get the most use out of my neutral shadows. So this palette did interest me when I first saw it. I like the color scheme in general, and also I felt like there was a really good balance of mattes and shimmers. Granted, I have not tried any pressed glitters from Anastasia. I don't think they've actually done pressed glitters before, so I would be interested to see if this formula was somehow a really good pressed glitter. Probably limited edition as well. Hopefully they're going to bring back the highlighter with it, or some new shades of the highlighter. Oh, that would be perfect. But basically this is going on the anti-haul list because I'm not going to purchase it immediately, and if I don't like the textures, I'm probably not going to purchase it at all. While we're here, I did want to talk about this new little mini cherry palette from the Norvina collection. This I think is really cute. I do really like the color scheme in here. It's pretty much the first launch from the Norvina line that's actually interested me. I think the color scheme is really well done. I do think they could have been more judicious with the selection of shades, in that there are 4 very similar looking pinkish reddish shades in there, but other than that, this is cute. I'm not going to buy it, but I think it is a cute palette. Alright, so one of the most disappointing releases of the decade, and the decade's only been going on for about 1 month, these Fenty Beauty Snap Shadows.
Clap if you care. Clap if you care.
I've been waiting for Fenty Beauty to come out with like more eyeshadow offerings. I know they've come out with 2 palettes that I haven't been interested in whatsoever, but they came out with these little snap shadow palettes where it's little mini palettes. Love mini palettes. 6 pans. Love 6 pans. The color schemes. Out of those 6 palettes, there's not a single one where I like the color scheme. I think the one where I came like closest to like kind of liking it / tolerating it a little bit more was the reddish one. I saw these in Sephora though. I swatched them, played with the textures on my fingers. They felt like decent eyeshadows. They swatched well, but it wasn't like a texture that blew me away. The shimmers in particular in person I felt like were very lackluster. I was really underwhelmed by these palettes. I get that they're like small little curated color schemes and I think the price is just right for Fenty. Is it just me or does it feel like Fenty is run by like 2 completely different creative directors? Because like half of the releases are like so solid, so well thought out, like really awesome concepts that everybody is into, and then the other half of the releases are like, what the is that? Questionable decisions have been made, like releasing that stupid beautiful gold gloss bomb in a set with things people don't want. I saw the outer packaging of this first and I was really intrigued. It's the Morphe 35i Icy Fantasy palette. The outer packaging, first of all, beautiful, stunning. I love the artwork on this. This is kind of their first foray into pastel eyeshadows. Pastels are typically very difficult to formulate, so I definitely cannot speak to the quality of this palette, and I have a feeling, like a gut feeling in my gut.
I have the mind of a master.
That it's probably not going to be great. But regardless of that, I love that brands are playing with more like pastel shades and kind of dipping their toes into this kind of different realm of colorful eyeshadows. That being said, I think this is a whole ass mess. It's just bigger palettes like this screw themselves over because they cease to be inspiring and cease to be like cohesive. Just because you have so many shades in one palette, it's hard to create a good color story that makes sense with that amount of stuff in there. And also, I know the big palettes are Morphe's thing, but I'm not into it anymore. One of the prettiest skincare products I've ever seen, the Herbivore Prism facial mask. On first glance, this kind of sounds like everything I want. It's exfoliating with alpha hydroxy acids. I love AHAs in my skincare. And I've also tried Herbivore's Prism serum before, and it's actually very nice. Between that and this looking like this really interesting jelly texture that I feel like would be very, very satisfying to play with, I was thinking about getting this mask. My problem is actually with the brand itself. Herbivore is a natural skincare brand, very focused on clean ingredients, and for them, that means not using preservatives in their skincare. I think there are so many misconceptions, dangerous ones at that, around preservatives in skincare and food. To a certain degree, you need preservatives in your products to keep them from expiring so that you are not putting expired, unhealthy things onto your face. So from what I can tell, Herbivore either just doesn't use preservatives at all or tries to use natural preservatives, which have a lower shelf life. So as a result, their products expire very quickly, and for me, I haven't had an Herbivore product that's lasted beyond like maybe 3 months of me opening it. The last mask that I had from them, the Brighten Gemstone mask, grew like actual mold in it, and it was ugh. So for such an expensive skincare product, especially because it's a mask, and I don't use like, you don't use masks every day, it's probably more of like a once a week thing, you would not go through this one before it expired, mark my words. So even though it's really pretty, it is way too much money for me to spend on a skincare product that's gonna go bad before I can use it up. I get really annoyed when people demonize preservatives and other ingredients like that without really doing full research into why they're needed and why they're necessary, and also why they're safe and have been proven to be safe. Okay, I know I said I wanted to see more mini palettes and I just spent like 5 minutes ranting about how annoying the big Morphe palettes are, but this is number 2 out of 3 mini palettes I have on this list. It's the e.l.f. bite-sized eyeshadow line. So they're coming out with a bunch of these cute little, tiny little baby palettes with really small, cute, curated color schemes. I think these color schemes in particular are a lot better executed than the Fenty ones. Honestly, these quads are pretty cute. They showed swatches, but I don't think the swatches are going to look like that at all. And they're only $3 each, which I think is an amazing deal. I'm not buying these because A, I really, really do not like e.l.f. shimmer formula at all. And there's only like one all matte quad and it's all pretty boring. But also, it's just something I know I wouldn't reach for. I'm definitely not against like affordable eyeshadows. I have plenty of like ColourPop palettes and other affordable eyeshadows that I reach for often. I find myself really not using things in clear plastic packaging when it comes to eyeshadow. And I feel like these are just something that would get lost in my collection that I wouldn't really use. I would probably buy them like for the novelty of like, oh, it's a $3 eyeshadow, such a good deal, might as well buy one. I'd get it and then I wouldn't really use it, if that makes sense. And I feel like a lot of people do that. I was intrigued by the Fenty Beauty mascara that they were coming out with. This seems to come from the good side of Fenty, where they're coming out with like actual substantive launches. I wanted to try it out, but then I reminded myself, no, Essence/Princess exists. If there's anything I think you can save on, it's definitely mascara. You can find so many amazing mascaras at the drugstore, and honestly, yeah. While there are certain items of makeup like foundation and usually eyeshadow that I feel like perform better from high-end brands, I think drugstore definitely wins at mascara. Farsali Liquid Powder Serum. It's become more and more clear to me with their releases that Farsali's entire brand is centered around like Instagram and like certain visual appeal of their products. This is definitely a very gimmicky product meant to be like tested out in a viral YouTube video or whatever. I think that's really interesting to look at, is a lot of brands really gearing their products to be more like viral clickbaity. I think Huda Beauty definitely does that a lot with their products. But Farsali, from like the Jelly Beam highlighter to like the drippity droppity that everybody uses on Instagram videos, I think their products are definitely more geared towards like the Instagram crowd. It is an interesting concept, but I don't really feel like anyone wanted. I guess it's like a mattifying primer that really like sets down your face like powder. I don't think anybody genuinely like hates setting their face down if they want to set their face down with powder. So I'm holding a grudge against this one because I know in about 1 month's time this is gonna be all over my explore page on Instagram, and I'm not here for it. I'm really pressed about the Pat McGrath Star Wars collection because my inner demon, my makeup goblin, was like, oh my god, it's Star Wars, you need to buy it. I watched TROS twice. Not thrilled.
Ben Stiller deserved better 2020.
But as empty as I'm feeling, this was my trilogy. This was the trilogy that I grew up with. Rey was my childhood, so I am very attached to Star Wars, clearly. And I also really like Pat McGrath. I know a lot of people who probably bought this collection probably like didn't even know who Pat McGrath was. Just a lot of diehard Star Wars fans going for this collection because it's collectible. So me being a makeup lover, I was particularly attracted to this collection. I just don't think that it's the best executed, honestly. Feels like they just put Star Wars packaging on pre-existing Pat McGrath products,
which is what they did.
I don't like the palettes at all. It doesn't feel like they really curated a color scheme surrounding Star Wars, which they could have easily done. I think the visuals of Star Wars really lent to creating a really inspiring color scheme. I would love to see like a dark side palette and a light side like in the same palette. Like that's so cool. But no, they did this. I may pick up one of the lipsticks because like there is this one color that I really like. This is my trilogy. I get to be nostalgic about it. But I think these palettes to anybody are like a huge disappointment. The last set of mini palettes, I swear. But these Juvia's Place mini palettes, I actually think these are really, really well done. I like the color schemes that they picked out with these. I think the neutral one is my favorite, honestly. But the purples are beautiful. Probably if this was a year ago, I would have bought these. Like maybe all 4 of them, honestly. I do know that I love Juvia's Place shadows, especially their shimmers. And I've just been moving away. I don't really love darker eyeshadow looks on me anymore. I feel like it just really makes my eyes look a lot heavier. She says wearing like dark blue eyeshadow, but it's just like not something I feel super pretty in. And honestly, I have nothing against these color schemes. I just didn't feel like any sort of inspiration when I looked at them. And just, I haven't felt like that for a while with Juvia's Place palettes. I don't know why. They always come out with nice color schemes that I look at and I'm like, oh, that's a nice color scheme. But it doesn't make me feel anything. A collaboration that made me just like, I am confusion.
America, explain!
These Brio and Kathleenlights essential oils. This doesn't make sense to me. Brio never really gave me the impression of being a brand that's all like, ooh, crystals, essential oils, we love the zodiac. For me, essential oils really just carry this underlying connotation of like Karen for what it is, which is a roller ball with essential oil and a crystal in it. It's just way, way overpriced. And it also just doesn't make sense to me because Kathleen, she like has a younger audience generally, and this just doesn't really make sense to market to them, if that makes sense. It's like not, the demographic doesn't really match up. For me, this is just like a huge WTF collaboration. It makes sense for like something Kathleen would create, but not something that Brio would create, and not something that Kathleen would market towards her fan base. BH Cosmetics just makes me sad at this point. They're trying, honestly. I feel like they're coming out with releases that for the most part seem to be like what the market says they want from other brands, but when BH does it, people are like, oh. They're coming out with so many eyeshadow palettes. One that I saved for this video was the Digital Future palette, which is a basically glorified neutral palette with 4 colorful shades in there. But I know they're coming out with like an addition to the Zodiac collection. I just feel like BH is a brand that I haven't really seen any like hyped up products from in the past year and a half or so. And I don't know, whatever they're doing, I just feel like is not really working for them, whether it's like not marketing a lot with influencers, because I haven't seen anybody that I watch talking about BH products in a long time. I hope BH can do something this year that really puts them back on the map, because when I got into makeup, they were like right up there with ColourPop in terms of affordable brands that were popular. I think BH really has not been around as much. So 2 different brands are coming out with new like hydrating luminous versions of products I hated. Wet n Wild's coming out with a luminous version of the Photo Focus foundation, and then e.l.f. is coming out with a hydrating camo concealer. I'll talk about the foundation first. I've heard that this one does not have the aggressive paint smell that the regular Photo Focus has, so that's lovely. I did look at the ingredients list of this foundation though. Wasn't super thrilled with some of the things I saw in there. It does seem to be a pretty drying formulation, even though it's marketed as luminous. I also don't love the applicator for the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. It's basically like a cap that has a paddle in it, and then you're supposed to swipe the foundation onto your face. That just doesn't really jive with me for sanitary reasons. Passing on the Wet n Wild foundation. I had 2 like main gripes with the e.l.f. concealer. Number 1 was that it was very drying, so it seemed that they remedied that with the hydrating claim. But number 2 was like the weird shade range. They had like a good mix of very, very light and very dark shades, but I felt like the undertones were super, super weird. And the shades in this one, oh, they look so strange on camera. Gut feeling that I probably would not like this concealer as well. Oh, number 14. I just have to say this in my sorority girl voice, so give me a second.
Spicy Batch.
Tarte has come out with another questionable decision. Spicy Batch palette, which honestly, I first saw this color scheme and I was like, ooh, we love some good warm tones. I do think it's kind of weird that the Icy Batch, the original like April Fool's joke, was in the Tarte lip format, which everyone liked, and then when they actually came out with the Icy Batch last year, it was like this weird, like long rectangular palette. And then for the Spicy Batch version, they're doing another rectangular palette, but it's like different shaped pans from the Icy Batch. I feel like there could have been a little bit more unity if you're going to call them basically the same thing. I think the color scheme in here is really beautiful, and I think the price is pretty decent. But I don't love Tarte's eyeshadow formula. I don't feel like they do colorful shades especially very well, and I can just feel the patchy chalkiness of that yellow through the screen. So I'm going to be passing on this Tarte Spicy Batch. It's a pretty color scheme, but I feel like it's not anything super unique. We have many other versions of this color scheme from brands that have way better eyeshadow formulas in my opinion. And then the final thing on my list is the Too Faced Hangover skincare line. And while it is a skincare line definitely geared towards hydration, which is what I need, I've just found myself not enjoying skincare brands from makeup companies, with the exception being Fourth Grade Beauty from ColourPop. I just feel like when brands who are definitely very focused on makeup, for example like Tarte, come out with skincare lines, it's not really geared towards formulation of skincare. Skincare brands for the most part take time to focus on like innovating and really working within the skincare field, whereas when makeup brands come out with skincare, I feel like it's more of just like an add-on to their existing product line, and there's like a lot less thought and a lot less science that goes into the skincare line. That I think is especially true for Too Faced's line. I think a lot of their skincare is very like basic in terms of ingredients, and some of it's downright harmful. Glow Job mask.
Oh my god.
And either way, I just feel like skincare brands do better skincare. Even though that line is very like cute and the Too Faced aesthetic is there, I just feel like makeup brands don't really put a lot of effort into their skincare lines. Most of the time. Like 99% of the time. Alright guys, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's anti-haul, the first one of the year. Literally clownery love. But I hope to do these throughout the year, especially as I'm going to be doing more like low buy / no buy content. These are very helpful for me just to kind of exercise my makeup demons and also just make good decisions, and I know that you guys like these videos as well. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you so much to Shop Tagger for sponsoring today's video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed down below, and also follow me on Instagram to see makeup looks like this posted. Why do I even do this part anymore? Everyone knows. And if you made it to the very end of this video, you essential oil toting Karens, you get the bonus meme. I love you. Bye.
Animal Crossing. Traversée d'animaux.